To understand Hindu cosmology, we have to look at the rigid machinery that governs it. Time, known as Kala, functions as a divine law, a physical force that structures the entire universe. The Vishnu Purana calculates this force with microscopic precision. The smallest unit of measurement is the kasta. To find a single kasta, you measure exactly 15 twinklings of a human eye. 30 kastas make a kala, and 30 kalas make a muhurta. This precision expands into a staggering scale. When these fractions of a second are multiplied across the cosmic calendar, they eventually reach a kalpa. This is one day in the life of the creator god Brahma, a period lasting exactly 4.32 billion human years. Every blinking eye and every shifting tectonic plate operates on this exact mathematical schedule. In this universe, the passage of time is a fixed certainty that neither mortals nor gods can alter. Against this backdrop of immutable laws, a human sage named Kandu established himself on the banks of the Gomati River. He began performing tapas, an intense, rigorous physical and mental penance. Kandu sought absolute mastery over his own perception. By subjecting his body to extreme deprivation and focusing his mind entirely on the divine, he sought immunity to the external world. In the Vedic tradition, an ascetic who corners his own mind accumulates immense spiritual power. Indra, the king of the gods, recognized Kandu's growing discipline as a direct threat to his own sovereignty over the heavens. To protect his throne, Indra deployed a psychological distraction. He sent a celestial nymph, an apsara named Pramlocha, to break the sage's concentration. The conflict was a psychological war. It tested whether strict human discipline could hold out against the intoxicating pull of divine illusion. When Kandu opened his eyes and saw Pramlocha, his ascetic focus shattered. The decades he spent building mental fortitude evaporated instantly. He abandoned his isolation, taking Pramlocha with him into the Mandara Valley. There, Kandu traded his severe penance for a life centered on physical pleasure. This surrender allowed Maya, or illusion, to take hold. As Kandu focused entirely on his passions, his mind began to detach from objective reality. The cosmic clock was still ticking, but Kandu had lost his connection to its rhythm. The first measurable leap in time occurred when Pramlocha asked to return to heaven. By this point, 150 years had passed in the outside world. Bound by his attachment, Kandu begged her to stay. She agreed, and they remained in the valley while another entire century passed. On the linear axis of the universe, centuries of cosmic time were steadily marching forward, but for Kandu, those hundreds of years were compressing into what felt like a single afternoon. When human attention is consumed by worldly desire, objective time yields to subjective experience. The illusion of Maya overwrites the laws of reality within the mind. Eventually, Kandu rushed out of his hut in a state of panic. Seeing the daylight fading, he was convinced the sun was setting on the very first day of Pramlocha's arrival. He grabbed his ritual items to perform his sandhya, his evening worship. He believed that if he missed this single sunset, he would neglect his daily religious duty and compromise his standing as a sage. Pramlocha watched him scramble to save his daily routine and burst into mocking laughter. She asked him why he was worried about a single sunset when his day had lasted for many centuries. When Kandu demanded the truth, Pramlocha delivered the mathematical reality. They had lived in the valley for 907 years, 6 months, and 3 days. Kandu spent the first part of his life practicing deprivation to master his mind. Yet, the moment he gave in to desire, he lost the very reality he thought he controlled. Hearing that nearly a millennium had vanished, Kandu went into profound shock. He realized he had lost 9 centuries of spiritual progress while distracted in the valley. His shock turned to rage. Recognizing he had been manipulated, he reprimanded Pramlocha and immediately banished her from his hermitage. Pramlocha fled in terror, wiping the heavy sweat from her body onto the passing leaves as she moved through the trees. That moisture incubated on the foliage, eventually giving birth to their child, a girl named Marisha. Realizing how fragile his mental discipline was, Kandu left the Mandara Valley. He traveled to the sacred realm of Purushottama to humbly restart his penance. The massive gap in Kandu's life and the existence of the child Marisha demonstrate that divine illusion creates tangible results. Even a disciplined mind can find its life trajectory irrevocably shifted by a single lapse in perception. Kandu's story frames Maya as a philosophical observation regarding the inherent limits of human perception. Human attachments and ego act as reality distortion fields. When we focus entirely on what we want, our minds create localized bubbles where minutes feel like hours or centuries disappear. The cosmos operates on the rigid billion-year scale of the kalpa, but inside the human mind, that immense architecture is easily dismantled by a single distraction. This tradition suggests time is a manifestation of our attention. When consumed by desire, a life can slip away before the day has even passed.